After a few days, Kakarot and Broly would eventually return, where they explain what had happened. Both of them have made breakthroughs in strength and will become an asset to the new Saiyan army. Unfortunately though, no word comes from Raditz, leaving everyone to assume that Raditz had perished. The Saiyans question who was on the mission with him so they can be executed, but nobody steps up to take that responsibility, so Raditz's fate is simply left unknown. Now that BARDOCK is the king, he'd recognize that his power is too unstable, so he'd likely train to master his wrathful form. It's not like it should be too hard for him to do so, due to him already having the Resolver form mastered. In a few months, that would be pretty easy to achieve, and he would just let the Saiyans go on whatever missions of conquest they want, as that's in their nature. He's not too interested in furthering any diplomatic agenda, so the Saiyan conquest would actually almost double under BARDOCK's rule. The former Prince Vegeta would be furious at having his title taken from him, as well as his father being killed. Not to mention that Kakarot and even Broly possess powers of legendary nature. He should be the Super Saiyan, not any of them. Some Saiyans would likely agree with Vegeta due to having respect for his father, believing that a lower class shouldn't be the king, and etc. So while around 95% of the Saiyans side with BARDOCK, Vegeta would be building up his own coup. He wouldn't be able to act for a while though, as it's clear they're outmatched. If BARDOCK was able to kill King Cold, Vegeta would get absolutely obliterated if he were to challenge him, so Vegeta would be training hard while gathering up his own allies. He may even get some former Frieza soldiers to side with him, such as Sorbet, Kikono, etc. Kakarot and Broly would both want to learn how to control and harness their new powers as well, so the duo would go to planets simply to train, where they go all out. These planets last about 10 training sessions before they simply implode from the strength that these two Saiyans possess. Over the many years of training together, they see some progress in their training endeavors. Broly is eventually able to tap into his Super Saiyan form again, and learns how to use it at will, allowing him to keep control while in the form. Not only that, he's actually mastered the form, being able to use it without any stamina drain. This is in an attempt to teach Kakarot how to control himself, but obviously this doesn't work as it is not really that simple. Speaking of Kakarot, he'd master his Akari form, as well as learning how to enter his Super Saiyan form at will. This is risky, however, as he's still not able to maintain himself while in that form. In Kakarot's personal life, he would have actually found himself a partner. This would be the daughter of Torin Fasha from BARDOCK's squad, who they named Pepper, and after some time, she would end up pregnant with Kakarot's child, which is very exciting for everybody. Kakarot and Broly would again want to go and train, so they began to search through a list of desolate planets, but Gine tells her son he shouldn't leave. Pepper's gonna have their child any day now, and he should be there for her. While Kakarot is reluctant, Broly tells his friend that it's fine, he'll go train alone for this one. Before Broly leaves though, Vegeta approaches him. He couldn't help but overhear that Broly needs a training partner, so why not him? Broly, of course, is reluctant, but Vegeta is very persuasive, insisting that he's just trying to repent for his father's evil deeds. This would be enough to make Broly agree, but in actuality though, Vegeta just wants that Super Saiyan form before disposing of Broly, knowing that he's naive as well, so he can use that against him. So Broly and Vegeta would get on their space pods, going on a solo mission for a change. They'd arrive on a desolate planet, noting all the rubble from the destroyed planets around it. Once there, Vegeta and Broly begin sparring, with Broly remaining in base to make it fair. It's clear that Vegeta is no slouch, as he tells Broly to get serious already, so Broly goes Super Saiyan, easily handling the former prince, before he goes back into base. As they continue their training session, Broly hears his scouter beeping like crazy, and would realize he didn't deactivate it, so he simply assumes that it was just picking up his own power. He goes over to turn it off when he sees it's picking up something else, and it's not his own power. Looking over the horizon, he sees a green blur, along with hearing a laugh getting louder and louder in the distance. Something then slams into him, destroying both Broly's scouter and his pod with one blow. Broly's confused but powers up into Super Saiyan once again, wanting to see who had attacked him. His face morphs into shock as he sees the face of the presumed dead prince. That's right, Raditz had survived. He's chuckling to himself as he stares at Broly blankly, with an evil smirk formed across his face. Clearly, these years of solitude had not been kind to his mental state, as Raditz had become a shell of a man. After Vegeta and Nappa had blasted Raditz, the boy barely clung on to life. He tried making it home, going to his space pod, only to find it destroyed. Assuming that somebody would come looking for him, Raditz simply waited, and waited, and waited even more. Months passed, and Raditz finally came to the conclusion that nobody was coming for him, not even his family. All of these emotions began swirling within him, igniting a power that had been locked below the surface. He entered the Super Saiyan form, and then into the full power form, destroying the planet he was on. Using a key barrier, Raditz went from planet to planet, destroying them, becoming nothing but a savage animal as he never powered down. Naturally, Broly doesn't want to fight, and would try to speak to Raditz, but he's met with a hard punch to the face. It's almost as if Raditz can't even hear him, his mind being warped by his own power and insanity. With negotiation not even being an option, there's no other choice but to fight Raditz, so Broly would begin fighting back. attack. Even with his grade 4 Super Saiyan, he's unable to contest Raditz's insane strength. Raditz would then end the fight, firing a mouth blast that pierces Broly's shoulder, causing him to fall to the ground in base form. Vegeta had been simply spectating the fight in shock, knowing that he won't make a difference. These feelings of incompetence and helplessness then bubble to the surface, finally allowing Vegeta to ascend into the Super Saiyan form. While he's still the weakest there, the golden spectacle catches Raditz's attention. The two lock eyes with Raditz remembering Vegeta. Raditz then yells out, "Vegeta!" before lunging at him angrily, not holding back as he pile drives him. Vegeta fires a final flash point blank, but Raditz charges through effortlessly, breaking Vegeta's arm and throwing him onto the floor. Raditz continues to laugh as he pulls his hand back, preparing an Omega Blaster to kill them both before a figure kicks him away. Kakarot now stands there, along with a few other Saiyans. Nappa had been listening to the broadcast from Vegeta's space pod before it was destroyed, and knew his leader was in trouble, so he called for Kakarot's help, knowing that he was the only one capable of saving Vegeta. As the other Saiyans tend to the injured Broly and Vegeta, Kakarot prepares to fight the threat at hand. Broly weakly tries warning Kakarot what he's up against, but Kakarot flies away before he could hear what his friend had said. That's when he comes face to face with Raditz. Raditz remembers his brother, stating his name in confusion. Kakarot tells his brother that he thought he was dead, trying to reach out to him. As tears fall down Raditz's face, his insanity causes him to lash out. His aura becomes ferocious as the tears evaporate, and he proceeds to attack his brother, not knowing how to handle this situation. Kakarot powers up to Akari, pushing Raditz off him as he tells his brother to calm down. It's him, his baby brother. They can go home together. This falls on deaf ears though, as Raditz continues to blindly attack him. It's clear to Kakarot that just like himself and BARDOCK, Raditz also cannot control his full power, so the only way to stop him is to knock him out. The only issue is that if Kakarot powers up, he will also lose control, but it's the only way to stop his brother, so Kakarot powers up into Super Saiyan, fighting against his brother in an epic battle. Both the Berserkers slam into each other with their immense power, trading blows as they slam into mountains. Their crazy power radiates off their bodies as they continue to battle, with powerful shockwaves of energy being produced in the process. While Raditz is in the stronger form, Kakarot's base is above that of Raditz's, so he evens out here. As they fight, Raditz would let out the occasional sentence, calling out his family for abandoning him. It's clear that he isn't addressing Kakarot, but that his mind is just reliving the horror that took place. Just like in the Z Broly movie, Raditz's power would be rising too quickly for his body to adapt. His power is overflowing. Kakarot would be surprisingly conscious, watching his own body as it mindlessly slams into his brother. His mind wanders back to the days when they were just kids playing together on Planet Vegeta. As though subconsciously, Raditz and Kakarot fight just like how they used to spar as kids. And from this memory, Kakarot is able to grasp some control over his Super Saiyan form. Yellow pupils form in the whites of his eyes as he finally realizes what's happening. Raditz is screaming in pain as tears flow freely. His aura is flowing too intensely, and it's clear to Kakarot what's happening. He turns around, shouting at the other Saiyans to get far away, quickly. Raditz is about to explode. If he does though, he's gonna wipe out the whole galaxy. There's only one way to stop this. He begins to build in Kakarot's hand as he somberly looks towards his traumatized brother. Under his breath, he mutters that he's sorry while charging at Raditz. With all of his power, he shoves his fist through Raditz's gut, fatally injuring him. Raditz falls to the ground below, his hair turning back to base, back to that same black color for the first time in years. Weakly, Raditz regains his senses and looks up to see Kakarot. As if a child, Raditz tells Kakarot that he was betrayed, but he survived. Are they finally going home? Kakarot smiles, telling him, yes, their dad is finally king now. Their mother is one of the most important Saiyans there is, and Kakarot himself is about to have a kid. Raditz smiles, telling him he's glad to hear it. He then closes his eyes and succumbs to his wounds, dying in his brother's arms. After this, all the Saiyans return home, with Broly and Vegeta being rushed back into healing tanks. Kakarot will be greeted by his parents, with Gine hitting Kakarot over the head. How could he miss his own son's birth? All Saiyan men are the same. BARDOCK notes Kakarot's wounds, asking him if he ran into some trouble. He pauses for a moment before laughing, telling them that he may have overdone it on the last training session. Together, the family go to see Kakarot's son in the incubator, making the family smile. Gine mentions how she wishes Raditz was here to see him. Kakarot says that Raditz is a perfect name for his son, so that way he will always be in the family. So yes, Gohan is named Raditz here, but for the sake of avoiding confusion, we will just call him Gohan. But with Raditz's death and Gohan's birth, this is where we will leave off the timeline for right now. And guys, that is the end of part 3 to what if Bardock was the legendary Super Saiyan. If you enjoyed it, then make sure that you check out part 4, which will be out at the same time on Supersavage789's channel. The link to part 4 will be in the description and pinned comments, so make sure you check that out. Honestly, that was peak. All that Raditz stuff, you know, just him meeting his brother again, brother versus brother, realize it, like, oh my god, dude, that was so peak. You know, just me editing it and then Super Savage writing it, like, dude, that was sick. I'm fanboying a little bit, but like, dude, I'm getting a little bit bit emotional from that Raditz stuff. Like, we cooked. But yeah, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed, make sure you like and subscribe, as it tells us you want to see more of this story. And that's it. See ya.